Hey, where are you right now? I'm at work, my husband said calmly over the phone, his tone unwavering. He's lying. You're right here in front of me. To deceive me so easily. Well, I have my own plans now. I'll make sure you regret this. I'm Karen, 33 years old. After college, I landed a job at a multinational corporation. My dream job. The pay is good, but the work is demanding with frequent international business trips. At this rate, my job might become my lifelong companion. When I was 29, feeling anxious about the future, I attended a mixer at a friend's invitation. That's where I met my husband, Mike. Mike is the same age as me and works a steady 9 to 5 job. Unlike me, he doesn't travel or relocate, which means I end up earning more. When the prospect of marriage began to seem real, he hesitated, asking, Karen, do you really think I can make you happy with things as they are? Why would you doubt that? Because I earn more. It's just, I don't mind at all. I'm with you because I love you, Mike. I feel the same way, but are you sure you're okay with me? His uncertain look was endearing. I met his gaze and spoke from the heart. I want you, Mike. It's you I love, not anyone else. Karen, thank you. I want to be with you too. A month later, he proposed. That fall, we had a beautiful chapel wedding surrounded by friends and family. Despite my busy schedule, I was incredibly happy enough to overlook any hardships. Nearly 2 years have passed since then, and our life together has been blissfully smooth. With our age, it was time to start thinking about having children. That's what I was starting to consider. One day, I came home from work to find Mike, who should have been home before me, missing. Mike, I called out, searching through the rooms, but he was nowhere to be found. Noticing his shoes were missing by the front door, I checked my phone for messages or missed calls. There were none. What's going on? He always comes home before me. If something had happened, he would have at least sent a message, right? Did something happen to Mike? With growing concern, I dialed his number, praying for the best. The phone rang 3 times before his familiar, carefree voice answered. Hello. Mike, are you okay? Okay. What's going on? I just got home from work and you weren't here. There were no messages, so I was worried. Are you alright? Oh, sorry, I'm working overtime today. Overtime? You've never done that before, have you? I asked, puzzled. Mike hesitated, then said quickly, actually, I get assigned a big project. If I do well, I might get a promotion. That's why I need to put in extra hours. A promotion? That's fantastic. Yeah, so I'll probably be working late more often. But don't worry about me. See you later. Wait. Hold on, Mike. But he hung up before I could say more. Despite his abruptness, I felt a surge of happiness. Mike finally has a chance for a promotion. He's always been worried about the difference in our incomes, so this could boost his confidence. I don't mind his current salary, but a higher income would certainly make our lives more comfortable, especially with the prospect of children in the future. A promotion for him would be a great development. Since that day, Mike stopped coming home at his usual time. His days off turned into work days and our time together diminished. When I returned from work, he wasn't there. Even on his rare days off, he was absent. This loneliness was more profound than I had anticipated. Although I wished he'd come home early occasionally or spend his days off relaxing together, I didn't want to burden him with my feelings. Confronting him seemed impossible, so I buried myself in work to distract from the emptiness. With an overseas business trip coming up, I worked even harder, mirroring his extended hours. But as our time together shrank, my heart grew heavier. I couldn't endure it any longer, despite knowing it might add to the stress. I decided it was time to share my feelings. Welcome home, Mike. I need to talk to you, I said when he walked in that night. Talk? Does it have to be today? I'm really tired. Huh? I was caught off guard but didn't want to give up. I'm sorry, but it's important. If you have something to say, make it quick. I need to get to bed early for tomorrow's work. But tomorrow is Saturday. Aren't you taking the day off? I urged, hoping he'd relax at home. Enough already, you're nagging. Can't you see how busy I am? Is it fun for you to bother me? That's not what I meant. Please just stop. Do you not understand how critical this period is for me? Yes, I understand. I'm sorry. His anger, which I had never seen before, shocked me. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed, he said sharply and left the room. Alone, I trembled with fear. What just happened? I've never seen Mike like this. I understand he's busy, but there was no need for him to speak to me like that. Although my frustration was growing, I couldn't voice it. We usually resolve issues through conversation, but I was too afraid to express my feelings at that moment. As my overseas business trip approached, I had been working late nights. On this particular evening, I left work unusually late and rushed to the train station, only to find the train delayed. The thought crossed my mind that Mike might have gotten home before me, so I decided to hail a taxi. "Excuse me, could you take me to this address?" I handed the driver my apartment's address, and the car set off. During the ride, I was too exhausted to check my phone, instead staring vacantly out the window. Suddenly, I shouted, "Stop! Stop the car, please." I blinked and refocused on the scene outside. There across the pedestrian walkway was Mike walking with a woman I didn't recognize. "This can't be happening." "Mike, why? You were supposed to be busy with work. What's going on?" Questions raced through my mind as I tried to process what I was seeing. I wanted to believe it was a mistake, but everything matched: his clothes, his height. They were clearly kissing on the sidewalk. My phone was out in an instant, capturing video evidence of his betrayal. They continued walking, arm in arm. As I filmed, the driver's voice interrupted. "Ma'am?" I snapped back to reality and quickly stopped recording. When I arrived home, Mike wasn't there yet. I called him, desperate for answers. The call rang on my phone, but he didn't pick up. After several attempts, he finally answered. "Stop calling me repeatedly. You know I can't answer if I'm not picking up." "I'm sorry, but I need to ask you something," I said, my voice trembling. "I'm working overtime. I'm sorry, but can we talk later?" Mike's voice sounded strained. "Overtime? You're not talking about cheating, are you?" "What?" There was a brief pause before his anger flared. After a moment, he sighed heavily. "Enough with this. How can you accuse me when I'm tired from working hard? Forget it. I'm not coming home tonight." He hung up abruptly. His reaction seemed to confirm my suspicions. I felt a strange mix of emotions, neither pure anger nor sadness. So, he really is cheating on me. We need to talk about this. Things can't go on like this. True to his word, Mike didn't come home that night. From then on, he would come home but avoided any meaningful conversation. Finally, the day of my business trip arrived. This time, it's a 2-week trip overseas. On the morning of my departure, Mike initiated a conversation. "Karen, you're leaving for your business trip today, right? Be careful." "Huh? Oh yes, thank you. 2 weeks is such a long time. I know you go on trips often, but I still find it hard to get used to it. It feels lonely." "Lonely? Do you really feel that way?" "Of course. We've been so awkward lately. I want to clear up our misunderstandings. Let's have a nice dinner when I get back." "There's no way things will work out so conveniently," I thought, feeling a pang of disbelief. It seemed like a cover-up for his infidelity. Still, part of me chose to believe his words. At the time, I hadn't fully realized that my feelings for him had cooled off due to our strained relationship. Yet I couldn't truly hate him. Was I mistaken about what I saw? His smile, which I hadn't seen in a long time, was unexpectedly endearing. I told him, "Let's have a proper talk when I get back," and left for my trip. After finishing my business trip earlier than expected, I decided to surprise Mike by returning home without telling him. I planned to cook dinner and wait for him as a pleasant surprise. I landed in New York around 11 a.m. and headed straight home. Arriving around 1 p.m., I was relieved to finally be back. But the moment I opened the door, a chill ran down my spine. What? What is this? A pair of light pink pumps were conspicuously placed at the entrance. Frozen with shock, I heard voices coming from the living room, Mike's and a woman's. I crept down the hallway, peeking around the corner into the living room. There they were in their underwear, drinking. The woman was the same one I had seen with Mike before. The woman spoke in a sweet tone. "Hey Mike, are you really okay with having me over? Isn't it risky if your wife finds out?" "It's fine," Mike replied casually. "She's on a business trip abroad until the day after tomorrow." "Really? That's perfect. It's my birthday, and your wife isn't home." "Exactly. Thanks to that, we can spend time together at home." "Linda, you're staying over tonight, right?" "Oh, Mike, thank you for the gift." So Mike's mistress is named Linda. They embrace each other drunkenly. This couldn't be real. Just because I earn more, he's having an affair in the apartment I rent under my name? Nausea surged through me as I recorded the entire scene with my phone. Once I had enough evidence, I quietly retreated to the entrance and left the apartment. Sweat dripped down my face and my heart raced. Despite everything, a part of me still wanted to believe it wasn't true. The scene replayed in my mind, and I knew I couldn't continue as his wife. With no other options left, I called Mike, bracing myself for what was to come. When Mike answered my call with a casual, "Hello," I made sure to infuse my voice with urgency. "Hey, where are you right now?" "Ha, I'm at work, of course. What time do you think it is?" Yeah, I guess so. I'm sorry, but it seems like someone else is in the apartment right now." Mike's voice faltered, confusion evident as he stammered, "What? What do you mean?" I decided to weave a bit of deception into my response, aiming to catch him off guard. "Well, my trip finished early, so I came back home. When I got to the front door, I heard someone talking inside." "You're saying you're outside our apartment right now?" "Yes, that's right." "Mike, what should I do? Should I go inside and check?" I hoped to trap him into revealing the truth about the affair. I wanted to see if he'd admit it or at least act honestly. Instead, his response shattered my expectations. In a loud, panicked voice, he said, "Could it be a burglar? Get out of there right now. Leave the place immediately." In that moment, all remaining affection I had for him evaporated. So this is how easily he betrays me. Instead of facing the truth or apologizing, he chose to deny and deflect in such a pathetic manner. "For now, just get to somewhere safe," Mike insisted before abruptly hanging up. Moments later, I called the police. "Hello, this is the police. I think there might be a burglar in my apartment. I can hear unfamiliar voices. Thank you for the information." After ending the call, I waited anxiously. A few minutes later, 2 police officers arrived. I explained the situation to them, and we headed to my apartment. When one of the officers rang the doorbell, Mike appeared, his eyes wide with surprise. "Why are the police here?" he asked. "Are you the resident of this house?" one officer inquired. "Yes, I am. We received a report from your wife about a possible burglary." "A burglary?" "No, there's no one here." As he spoke, I stepped out from behind the door. Seeing me, Mike's face fell, and he muttered, "Well, why are you here?" His eyes darted nervously around. I apologized to the officers, claiming it must have been a misunderstanding, and sent them on their way. Inside, I saw no sign of his mistress. It seemed he must have hidden her when I called. Did he really think I was still unaware of the affair? He confronted me with frustration. "Why did you call the police? That was so unnecessary." "Well, Mike, you were the one who said there was a burglar. Also, weren't you supposed to be at work? Why are you home?" That is, never mind. Just look at this." I pulled out my phone and showed him the video. His face drained of color as he watched. "This isn't what it looks like, Karen. Are you really trying to make excuses now?" Sweat began to bead on his forehead. He seemed desperate to find words, but no apology emerged. I'd had enough. I coldly said, "Oh, just drop it. It's clear you're a jerk who can't even apologize in this situation. How does it feel to lie, cheat, and get caught? Surely you didn't think I wouldn't find out." "Wait, Karen, I understand. I'll apologize." "Your apologies mean nothing to me now," I told Mike coldly. "In fact, they're worth less than nothing. Even if you apologize, I will never forgive you. I'm going to sue you and that woman for emotional distress. I hope you both rot in hell." Fueled by anger, I forced Mike out of the house and locked the door behind him. He made a commotion outside for a while, but when I continued to ignore him, he eventually left. Later, I received a call from my in-laws who informed me that Mike had come to them, claiming he had nowhere else to go. I explained the situation, and they were outraged. They had Mike sign and mail the divorce papers, which meant the divorce was finalized smoothly. The following day, I notified my in-laws that the papers had been accepted. They promptly kicked Mike out and severed ties with him. I pursued a claim for emotional distress against both Mike and his mistress through my lawyer, demanding a lump sum payment. The other woman, Linda, turned out to be a receptionist at Mike's company. Their affair quickly became public within the workplace. Unable to handle the scandal, Linda abruptly left the company. As for Mike, he now endures the scorn of his colleagues while trying to navigate his work environment. I later discovered that his promotion was a fabrication, a ploy to cover up the affair. I felt foolish for being deceived, but at least I had the clarity to make the decision to divorce. Moving forward, I'm committed to dedicating even more energy to my career and striving for higher positions. I'm determined to show that happiness and fulfillment are not tied to marriage, and I'm ready to achieve it on my own terms.